We spent $1,972.09 and we've made $3,797. What if you can make $300 per day running Facebook ads? Literally less than an hour per day of management, but upwards of $300 per day in revenue. What's going on, my friend? My name is Eric Ellis, CEO of RosesAcademy.com. And I'm sick and tired of these gurus out there basically showing you how to do Facebook ads, but they're really not showing you guys results. So what I did is I actually put a 1 hour case study of a real campaign that I brought from 0 to 300 plus per day in Facebook ads in a 11-day period. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and actually step behind the laptop and get right into it. So if you guys notice here, the two campaigns are currently in review. Now, if you guys notice here, these look like ad sets, but they're actually not ad sets. They're daily budget, and the daily budget is for the campaign. So these are called CBOs, campaign budget optimization. So when I originally created the actual campaigns, I decided to go ahead and use, instead of making the daily budgets on the actual ad sets, I did it on the overall campaign. Now there's two types of campaigns that I'm doing. I'm doing checkout conversions. If we look here, what that means is I'm optimizing for, if I go to an ad set and I press edit here, it's going to show that the actual conversion that I'm looking to do is initiate checkout. We scroll down, it says initiate checkout. Now, if I was to scroll down, this one is checkout conversions. If I go to campaign number 2, I'll open both of them up actually. And then I'll go to lead conversions. Well, let me just press edit because I don't know exactly which one I'm on here. So checkout conversions, and then we'll go ahead and go to the campaign number 2, lead conversions. So if I go to the actual ad, it is lead conversions. Now, basically what I did, like always, I do existing posts. So the actual posts, we're only doing currently for this campaign setup one angle. We're not split testing two different angles. So the angle that we're using is called hidden short. So it's the short copy. All right, so if you notice here, it says, what's the new hidden and booming industry that anyone can tap into? And then it has a similar headline. And this is a video ad, right? Now, the difference between jump, I don't know if you see the thumbnail here, I'm jumping, right? The difference between the jump and the jet ski is literally just the thumbnail. So the video is exactly the same, but if you notice here, the thumbnail is me riding a jet ski. And then these are an existing post. So the whole point of doing existing posts is for this exact reason. So for example, jump, hidden short, jet ski, hidden short, jump, hidden short, Maryland, hidden short. Even though this one is being a lookalike audience and this one is Gary V, these are going to all be sending to the same exact post. Because if you guys look here, it says use existing post, and all the engagement will come on this one post. Let me go ahead and show you guys the other 4 ads. So just to kind of give you guys the campaign breakdown, we have one angle, one marketing angle, 2 different campaigns, 4 different audiences. So a total of 32 different variations. So this is the thumbnail, which is basically me sitting in a Ferrari. And that's why it's called Ferrari. And then if I go to this one right here, it's called Maryland. And the reason why it's called Maryland is because I have a Marilyn Monroe hoodie on. Now, see the Marilyn Monroe hoodie, but if you guys notice, literally the headline and the actual ad copy is the same, and every single one of these ads are going to be an existing post. So Maryland, if I continue to scroll, Maryland, these are all the same ads, right? But they're being sent different audiences because we want to go and see which audiences convert the best. Now, the cool thing about CBO campaigns is that if an audience, let's just say this lookalike audience of it says buy 1%, so it's my buyers list. So what I did is I uploaded my buyers list and I created an audience, and then I created a lookalike audience of the people who bought my product. So if buyers list is doing better than Gary Vaynerchuk or Grant Cardone, then it's gonna go ahead and optimize my campaign to spend the majority of my budget in whatever ad is performing the best. We have 4 ads in each one. We have 4 different ad sets. The actual ad sets are, well, it's gonna show 8 ad sets, and the reason why it shows 8 ad sets is because it's for both campaigns. So I have 2 Gary V's, 2 Grant Cardones, people who actually initiated checkout. I created the lookalike audience of the people who initiated checkout, and I created a lookalike audience of my actual purchases. So 8 different audiences, 2 different campaigns, and if you do the math, 8 ad sets times 4, so 32 different variations. If I was to go right here and we were to go to ads, it should show 32 different variations, so 32 different ads. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and hopefully this gets approved. Then once this gets approved, we're gonna go ahead and wait 24 to 48 hours. The actual daily budget for both campaigns total is $100 per day. So we're gonna go ahead and start at $100 per day, and then we're gonna go ahead and if there's anything that's doing terribly bad, we'll go ahead and cut it off. If it's doing pretty well, we'll just go ahead and keep it running, but we wanna go ahead and actually optimize throughout, so that way Facebook can kind of do its job with the CBO. And then if we have a profitable campaign, we'll start to actually scale these campaigns. So with that being said, in the next portion of the training, I'll actually show you guys once we have some data, so that way we can start making some data-driven decisions. All right, so looking at the 2 campaigns from yesterday, they have been approved. And if we look at the ad set level, total, we've spent $34.15 out of our $100 budget. So it hasn't even been a full 24 hours yet. Now, if we take a look here, the cost per leads are insane. Those are way too freaking high, right? And in the checkout conversions, right? So we're doing initiate checkouts. We're actually getting pretty low initiate checkouts. Now, my unique click-through rate on my ads is very low, but we're really not gonna go in and beat ourselves up about that. We have a 64 cents cost per click on the checkout conversions and a 83 cents cost per click. So the cost per leads, if I was at a 33% conversion rate, would be about $190. So I usually get like a 35% conversion rate on my landing page. So under $2 lead here. This one would be about $2.40. So the cost per clicks are way too high. So we got to get a higher click-through rate, but we have gotten a purchase so far. So if you notice, we have $16.02 spent, and then $16.64 spent. So we spent $32, $16 each. So we really don't have enough to do accurate data, but I'm gonna go to the actual lead conversions and look at the actual ad sets to see what it looks like so far. So the lookalike audience has 70, it has a higher click-through rate, so 2.65% click-through rate. It has a way lower cost per click. So what I'm going to do is, this is $7 per lead. There is no way in hell, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and actually duplicate both of these. So how much did I actually spend? So let's go ahead and duplicate that. So my KPIs for lead, like for example, if these leads were at maybe like $2 per lead, I'd give them a shot. But $7 per lead, like there's no way in hell that we're gonna go ahead and bounce back from that. So I'm not even gonna go ahead and give it a shot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and duplicate these ad sets, and then I'm gonna go ahead and delete the ones that aren't performing. What I'm gonna do is I wanna go ahead and keep it as copy, because I wanna know that I duplicated these. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually delete these, because they are way above KPIs, and you wanna know what your KPIs are. My KPIs, I like to have $1.50 per lead. So we're gonna go ahead and delete this one below KPI. This one, I don't even know how much did we spend right here? So $1.85. So we're still gonna go ahead and let that one run. We're gonna go ahead and delete that there. We're gonna go ahead and review and publish. So that's publishing now. Now, if I was to go to the other campaign, the checkout conversions, right? We're gonna go ahead and look at this one right here. Let's go ahead and actually refresh it really quick. The unique click-through rate on this one is terrible, and the cost per click is $1.77. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and duplicate this one. And I don't even know if I've spent enough on that one, but I don't even like where it's heading. It's way out of KPIs just by looking at the cost per clicks. The cost per clicks that I like to have is about 50 cents. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and actually duplicate that one. And then I'm gonna go ahead and actually delete the original. So we're gonna go ahead and delete the original because that one has too high of a cost per click. Then we're gonna go ahead and delete that because that's a really low click-through rate. Then if I was to go to look at all of my actual ads, right? So we'll click both campaigns and we look at ads here. Split testing 4 different adverts. So we're gonna go to, we'll go to click-through rate because we're running 2 different types of campaigns. We're gonna go through unique click-through rates. Okay, so as far as the unique click-through rate, these are the highest click-through rate images. So if you notice here, the jump is getting a pretty good click-through rate and the jet ski. So, well, I mean, at the end of the day, these are the only ones that it looks like that ads have been ran to. So that money has been spent on. So it doesn't even look like the image ads have gotten any of the budget has been allocated towards those. So we'll be able to have more of a idea later on. But right now it's looking like the checkout campaign is doing better than the lead conversions campaign. I'm not gonna go ahead and quit on the lead conversions campaign right away. We're gonna go ahead and give it some time. So we're gonna go ahead and give it the opportunity over maybe the next 24 to 48 hours. And then if it doesn't do well, right? So if the checkout conversions continues to do well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and increase the budget. If the lead conversions campaign doesn't, after the next 24 to 48 hours, if it doesn't like do well, I might even just kill the campaign and just continue to go with the checkout conversions campaign. So we'll see what we do on the next portion of the training. But yeah, basically what you want to do is you want to go and look at your data and make data-driven decisions. But one thing that you want to do, right, is one thing that I have not done is you want to go to make sure you publish your new changes. So with that being said, I look forward to seeing you in the next portion of the training. All right, so if you notice here, we still haven't, if we go to the end of our budgets here, the checkout conversions and the lead conversions, we have not spent a full $50 yet for each conversion, meaning we have not spent our $50 per day budget. So that means it's been less than 24 hours. However, right, one that is doing pretty well is the checkout conversion. So if we go ahead and scroll to the right here, it shows that we have 2 unique purchases and our current purchase value, or not value, our current purchases are at $19.22. And these conversions are off. It's supposed to be $94 because it's a $47 product. So if we go ahead and actually eventually start tapping into upsells for a $47 product, on average, if we can go ahead and at least get on our average order values about $80 to $100 and we can maintain below $50 purchase conversions, then we'll do pretty well. So I'm not gonna go ahead and quit on the lead conversions yet. We haven't spent enough money yet to go ahead and give an accurate amount of data. But if you look here, the checkout conversions campaign compared to the lead conversions campaign is smashing it in initiate checkouts. And obviously the more initiate checkouts, the more purchase conversions you're gonna get. That's just how this works. So we're kind of seeing which one is gonna go ahead and give me the better outcome. Now, if you guys notice, the cost per click is pretty similar, 59 cents and 63 cents. The click-through rate is pretty similar, 1.83%, 1.84%. But if you notice, the big difference is the actual campaign, right? Checkout conversions, lead conversions. So basically Facebook is going to optimize your ads for the actual conversions you're looking for. So while this one's optimizing for leads, this one's optimizing for checkouts. So that's why this one has more checkouts, I'm assuming, right? But we're gonna go ahead and look at a little bit more data. Because this one isn't performing, what we're gonna do, because it's a CBO campaign, we're gonna go ahead and actually edit this. So we're not gonna go ahead and do anything budget-wise for the lead conversions campaign. We're gonna let it run another 24 hours. If it gets to about $100 without a conversion, without a purchase conversion, I'm just gonna go ahead and shut it off. But the checkout conversions, what we're gonna do, the golden rule is you wanna go ahead and increase by 10 to 30% per day. So you don't wanna go ahead and just boost up your budget to like $2,000 or $500. So what I'm gonna do is a 20% increase is gonna be $10. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and increase my budget to $60. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and publish it. So with that being said, what we're gonna do is, this is the last time that I'm gonna go ahead and actually check on this campaign. Tomorrow, when I wake up, we should see some additional data that we can go ahead and look at to make data-driven decisions. Now, on top of that, let's go ahead and actually look at the actual ads. So from an ad sets perspective, right? Looking at all of these inside the checkout conversions campaign, we have Gary Vee, who's doing good. Grant Cardone's doing good. The lookalike audiences really haven't spent enough money, so only 50 cents spent there, $8 spent there, and we do have one checkout initiated, so I'm not gonna do anything. I'm not gonna cut that off. And if you notice here, it has a higher click-through rate, and the cost per click is pretty similar, so we're not gonna do anything. And this actual audience hasn't spent enough money, so we're not gonna go ahead and actually do anything with that one yet. So we're gonna leave that as it is. We scaled it up. Now, if I look at my actual other campaign, I already actually made some changes before this video, but the lead conversions, I ended up actually cutting off two of these. So I actually copied Gary Vee again, and then I copied the checkout, the lookalike audience for my checkouts. So right now we're getting $1.68 per lead. We've only spent $1.68. So hopefully we can go ahead and get another lead, which will go to drive down that lead cost. KPIs that I'm looking for is below $1.50 per lead. Now we don't have enough data for this one yet to make a data-driven decision, but the audience for my buyers list, my lookalike audience, is 79 cents per lead. So this is like a rock star. This one's doing pretty well. If we go to checkouts initiated, none over here. Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and let these start gathering some data. But again, I'm not in control of how much money is being spent per actual ad set. That's what CBO is about, campaign budget optimization. And all I can do is kind of just look at the actual ad set, see which ones are performing, see which ones aren't, cut off the ones that aren't performing, and go ahead and optimize the ones that are, and let the CBO do the rest. So with that being said, we've already made some changes. I made some changes before I even started recording. Basically, all you can do, as stated before, is kind of just look at your data. Now, if you look here, 34 cents a click, 43 cents a click. So they're actually getting lower clicks, and that's why I'm not gonna go ahead and actually kill this campaign yet, because they're actually getting lower clicks than the checkout conversion. So what we're gonna do is give it a full 24 hours. And then at that point, we'll be able to have more data. And with that additional data, we'll be able to make some more data-driven decisions. All right, so this one's going to be pretty quick. Now, if you look at the last part of the training, you notice that the cost per leads were through the roof. And we made some minor adjustments, and not only were we able to get the cost per click down to 44 cents, but we were also able to get the cost per lead below our KPIs, our desired KPIs, which is $1.50. Now, I have currently spent $93 and don't have any results. However, again, we did recently dramatically get closer towards our desired KPI, so I'm not gonna go ahead and actually cut it off just yet. And if you notice here, we also have 13 initiate checkouts now. So before it was actually pretty different, right? But they're actually pretty similar now once we kind of got made those adjustments when we kind of cut off some of those lead conversions. So we're gonna go ahead and actually take a dive between the actual ad sets. So these ad sets are rocking $1.19, $1.11, 61 cents, and $1.02 per lead. Our KPI measures is $1.50 per lead, so we're below that. And if we go to the checkout conversions, the only one that is out of KPIs is this one right here. It's currently $13.87 per conversion. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and actually duplicate that. And one thing is, if we're ever deleting something, there's a couple things that we want to do. We want to go ahead and number one, see if it's out of KPIs. But sometimes even if it's out of KPIs, but it is getting purchases, then we'll go ahead and actually keep it. But that's not the case in this one. If you notice, we have 2 checkouts compared to everything else. The KPIs are pretty low. Or not pretty low. The cost per click is 49 cents. So it's actually the lowest cost per click, but it's $13.87. So it's almost double the checkout cost per checkout. So meaning, yeah, we're getting a cheap cost per click on this audience, but we're really not getting our desired results. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and actually delete this, and then we're going to go ahead and publish. Too early to actually decide whether we're gonna go ahead and actually cut this campaign off. Now, I know from above, you might be panicking here and saying, well, oh my gosh, right now you're currently, like, your KPIs are out of whack. But if you look here, right, we currently have $96 per purchase is what the cost per action is. So if we can get a couple purchases plus upsells, we should be good. But in the next few days, right now we're focusing on data. In the next few days, I'll go ahead and decide whether I'm gonna go ahead and cut off either of these campaigns. But once we get one that's actually doing fairly well, then we're gonna go ahead and actually start scaling. So what we're gonna do is review and publish, and then we're just gonna go ahead and continue to make data-driven decisions. All right, so the previous training that you just watched, or a portion of the training that you just watched, you noticed that we made some minor changes. I told you, don't worry, we're gonna make data-driven decisions. We're not gonna go ahead and cut the lead conversions campaign just yet, because we made some changes and we got the lead cost pretty low. We started this campaign June 25th, 2020. It is currently June 28th, 2020. So it's been about 3 days, roughly 4 days so far. So since we've made those changes, if you guys look here, me just being honest with you guys, my cost per purchase of $128.35 is out of KPI, but because of the actual total revenue that we generated from the first sale in this campaign, actually made it a profitable campaign. So we've currently spent $276.71 so far. We've earned $585 so far. If you notice here, we have 3 total purchases so far, and our cost per purchase is $92.24. Now, if we go ahead and actually look at the total amount earned, it's actually minus 47 because there's 2 unique purchases. So it would be $94 plus $444, which would be about something like $538. So $538 is how much we've actually made. We've spent this much. So if we were to open up a calendar, $538 is roughly about, I don't even know, divide that by 3, but that's how much we're earning per purchase. So we're earning over $100 per purchase. It's at about like 175 per purchase, or 180 per purchase is what we're earning right now. But that's not going to be realistic. However, what we want to do is we want to continue to optimize this campaign so that way we can go ahead and get our cost per purchase to about $60 is usually my KPI that I'm looking for, because I know my numbers. So all we need to do is we need to just continue to manage these campaigns. So since the last time we actually managed it, which was about 24 hours ago, we're gonna go to checkout conversions. Now, one thing that I do whenever I'm managing campaigns is I do a 3-day window. So the 28th, the 27th, the 26th has been a 3-day period. If I go to the checkout conversions, we wanna go ahead and look at what this looks like, right? So if we look at the cost per initiate checkouts, again, this one's a little bit high, right? So we're gonna go ahead and copy that once again. We're gonna duplicate that. There is no purchases, so I'm not like scared to go ahead and duplicate this and cut it off. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and actually duplicate this. And once we duplicate it, we're gonna go ahead and actually delete the old one. The other ones are performing pretty well, so we're not gonna do anything there. So we're gonna go ahead and delete this. And if you notice, there's no purchases, so it's okay. There's no purchases within the last 3 days. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the cost per leads campaign. So our KPIs for leads is $1.50. So if you notice here, our lead costs are 88, 64, 106, and 132. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to actually increase the budget of this campaign. And I'm going to go ahead and increase it by about, what is 30%? So about 20%. So we're going to go ahead and increase it by $10. And then we're going to go to publish that. This is not a bad cost per purchase, 72. So what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and increase the $60 budget. If I was to go ahead and increase that by about 25%, we'd be adding 15. So I'm going to go ahead and actually increase this. Well, actually, what is 33%? So I'll go ahead and increase that to $80 per day. So we're just going to go ahead and continue to increase our budget and just look at the data and just continue to make data-driven decisions. With that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and review. I'm going to go ahead and publish. And then as this campaign moves along, we're going to go ahead and continue to make some changes and make some data-driven decisions. All right, so we've been running this campaign since June 25th, and today is currently the 29th as I'm recording this section of the video. Checkout conversions is we've scaled up to $80. We really haven't scaled up lead conversions yet, and we're slow scaling, but $60 I wish you have been so far. But the reason why we're not is not because the cost per leads are out of KPIs, but because the cost per purchase is out of KPI. So if we look at the default settings, because we're not looking for website purchases, we're looking for unique purchases. Now, so unique purchases, we have 1. So what that means, if we look at our cost per purchase, our cost per purchase is $178.87. Now, a novice marketer will be like, well, Eric, you only spent $178.87 and you made $444. But this is what you have to understand. Right, we made $1,000 in conversions with 5 sales. So that means on average, each sale is averaged at about $200 is the value. But realistically, over time, not just within these last couple of days, but from the lifetime of my sales funnel, I know usually they're about anywhere between $100 to $140. So at $178 per purchase, I would actually be losing money. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna go ahead and actually cut this off, right? I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot, because if I look at the lead conversions here and I look at the cost per leads over the course of this campaign, we wanna go ahead and actually, from a reporting, well, let's go ahead and actually backtrack a little bit before I actually start going into the data. But good news is this, right? We spent $387.99 so far since June 25th to June 29th. So if you do the math there, that's about 5 days so far. So we've been averaging about $200 a day in revenue. 5 days there, I mean, we've been spending about $80 a day, so about $120 a day in profit. However, let's go ahead and actually look at some of the data. So one thing that I'm super excited about, aside from the lead conversion campaign, I'm super excited that we started scaling this campaign to $80, and we are able to, we got our first upsell. So not only are we within KPIs for the cost per purchase, but we have over $600 in revenue with a $209 ad spend. So not only are we at about a 3x return on investment, but we are within KPIs. So while this one may look good, $2.48 return on investment, return on ad spend rather, we're not within KPIs of our cost per purchase, meaning, right, we only got one sale, so we just got one big sale. But if we average it out, the average sale is about $100 to $120. Then over time, if we were to keep these metrics, this campaign will not be a profitable campaign. So in order to get this averaged out within the next day or so, if this campaign does not go ahead and get a few more purchases, that will, for example, if I was to get a purchase today it will go ahead and drive my cost per purchase down dramatically because it's only one purchase, right? So if I got 2 purchases, it drive it down to about $90 per purchase. And then if I was to go ahead and get a couple more sales, it could even drive it down to like $60 to $50 per purchase, which is my desired KPI. Now, if we look here, right, we currently have the current ad spend $200 over here, and we have 30 unique checkouts, $178 over here, and we have 38 checkouts. So we're getting more checkouts. We're getting pretty decent like statistics. The only thing is we're not getting purchases, right? So that's just looking within the data. We need to go ahead and kind of like do a deep dive in the data, but I'm not going to do it here. We need to figure out why we're not getting purchases. And sometimes it's literally just a numbers game. So we're not going to kill it right now because it's profitable. And if we were to get like 2 sales, if we were to get 2 sales in this conversions campaign, then we'd be able to go ahead and kind of get us in the ball game. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and keep it at a steady $60 per day. And we're going to go ahead and scale this one 10 to 30%. So 30%, scaling this one at 30% would be increasing at $24. So we're just going to go ahead and increase it $20 to make it an even $100 per day ad spend. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and actually look into the data. So I'm going to keep this one steady, right? I'm going to keep spending $60 a day with that one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and actually look at some of the data, right? So if we look at checkout conversions, I don't know if you guys remember the last part of the training, right? This is the one we just copied. The cost per checkout was about 11%, and then we duplicated it, right? We duplicated it, not 11%, it was $11 cost per initiate checkout. So we duplicated it, that's why it says copy number 2. And because we got it within KPIs, look, this one is smashing it. This one, because we made that change, we made that data-driven decision, is now $4.57 cost per result, which is cost per initiate checkout. And we have a purchase, 2 purchases for $491. So if we would have never made that data-driven decision, this campaign wouldn't even be a profitable campaign. This is literally the one that we just changed. And this is the one, if you notice here, that pushed over the campaign to kind of go ahead and get it like in massive profit. Because if we didn't have that one, we would only have currently 2 purchases at $94, and we'd actually be losing money. So we'd have a loss like $70. So because we made that data-driven decision and cut that one that was out of KPIs, now we've made $491. Right? Now, all of these are within KPIs. The cost per clicks are good. So we're going to go ahead and actually keep that one running, and we just scaled it to $100. And then we're going to go ahead and look at the lead conversions. And if I look at the lead conversions, everything is within KPI. This one's a little bit high right here. So what we're going to do, and it's not even spending a lot of money, and the cost per click is a lot higher than everything else. But I actually shouldn't be looking at it like this. I should be looking at it from a 3-day perspective. So the 29th to the 27th, whenever I'm making data-driven decisions, 3 days. So if I look at the cost per leads, this one is $2.71 per lead. So this one's out of KPI. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and actually duplicate that. And then we're going to go ahead and delete the one that is out of KPIs within the last 3 days. There's a lot more complex stuff that I could be doing, like adding more ad sets, so on and so forth. As I start increasing my budget on my campaign, like into the couple of hundreds, that's when I'm going to go ahead and actually start adding some additional ad sets. But until then, what we're going to do is just continue to manage what we have here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one out of KPIs. There's no purchases, so it's okay if we go ahead and actually delete this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and review, and I'm going to publish. And then what I'm going to do is just continue to make data-driven decisions. All right, so as stated, I was gonna go ahead and give the lead conversions campaign one more additional day. So today is currently June 30th, 2020. And if I look here from the campaign perspective, from the 24th to the 30th, right? First and foremost, look at the cost per purchase, right? So just to let you guys know my KPIs, my cost per lead KPIs are $1.50 per lead. We are below conversions from a campaign standpoint. And if I go to the actual ad set level, we also have 1, 2, 3, 4 that are below the KPIs for the lead level. And if I go back here, right, and I look at the initiate checkouts, we have 50 initiated checkouts, and it costed us $238.55. So if we look at the data there, it's looking like we are also getting our initiate checkouts at below $5 for this campaign. So on paper, right, the cost per initiate checkouts is lower, the cost per leads is lower, the cost per clicks is lower than the checkout conversions campaign. On paper, it looks better. But what is our North Star metric? Our North Star metric is cost per purchase. So with that being said, if we look at our cost per purchase KPI, target KPI is below 60. So our checkout conversions is below 60, but our lead conversions is $238.55 cost per purchase. Now I left it on for an additional 24 hours to see if we could maybe kind of get 2 sales, and kind of if we were to get 2 sales, you do the math there, that brings us down to about $80 cost per purchase, and then it kind of average it out, but it didn't get any sales. So what is that telling us? Based off of the data, we're getting really good leads, we're getting really good people to the initiate checkout, but for some reason these people aren't making a purchase at the end. So maybe they don't have the purchasing power, so on and so forth. Basically the data is just showing they're getting to the checkout, but they're not making a purchase. And at the end of the day, we need purchases. So I make my data-driven decisions based off of the last 3 days. So from the 28th to the 30th, we're gonna go ahead and update. And if we look at it, the cost per clicks are smashing at 30 cents. The leads are 83 cents leads. It looks like it's getting better and better and better. But you guys gotta remember, this conversion campaign is for lead conversions, right? So in Facebook, guys, it thinks that it's doing a really good job because the lead cost went from about $1 to 83 cents. So it's doing an amazing job. But at the end of the day, my unique purchases, right, we're getting purchases at about $1.50. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and actually duplicate this campaign. And then after I go ahead and duplicate it, well, I'll just go ahead and show you. So first step that we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and actually duplicate it. The reason why we wanna duplicate it is because we wanna go ahead and actually give it another shot. Obviously, and one thing that may confuse people is the people who are thinking, well, Eric, it's a profitable campaign, why would you shut it off? Because we wanna go ahead and keep it profitable, meaning we've spent $200 and we've made $444, right? We've spent $238, we've made $444, so that's $200 in profit. Right now at $1.52 per purchase, we are burning money because that is above how much we earn per purchase. So if we do the math here, right, we have 5 different purchases. We have what is that? 1,076. So yeah, we're not gonna go ahead and actually like burn that, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do lead conversions copy. We're just gonna keep it like that. Then we're gonna go ahead and actually make the budget. We're gonna change that to 50. So we're gonna start from scratch. We're gonna start from scratch, and then we're gonna go ahead and give it one more shot. And then we're going to go ahead and turn off this campaign completely. So even though it has made $444, we're gonna cut our losses. We still have profited about $200 from this campaign, so that's just being lucky, but it is outside of our KPIs when it comes to the cost per purchase. We've given it 3 days, we've given it more than enough chance to save itself. It didn't. And one thing that I'll leave you guys with is never use hope as a strategy. Make sure you are making data-driven decisions. So we're gonna go ahead and review and publish. And one last thing that I did want to go ahead and actually mention that I did make a change on is if we go ahead and actually look at the campaigns here and we get the 3 different campaigns that were most recent, there is one more change that I made. So I'm going to go to filter. Then I'm going to go to filter by selection. The only change that we made here is we actually increased our budget from 100 to 30 on the checkout conversion. So if I go ahead and actually refresh that, remember we always want to go ahead and if it's within KPIs, we want to go ahead and increase it anywhere from 10 to 30%. So because it was 100, I decided to go ahead and increase it 30%. So our current budget on the checkout conversions is $130 per day. With that being said, we're just gonna go ahead and continue to make data-driven decisions, and I look forward to seeing you on the next part of the training. All right, guys, so this one is a pretty interesting one, right? So if we go back to the 25th or the 24th to the 30th, which is what the last portion of the training we were talking about, you guys will notice, right, something has changed, right? And what has changed, right? Basically, the reason why we cut off this lead conversions campaign is because it was out of KPIs. It had one purchase and the cost per purchase was $240. But maybe I made that decision too soon. So basically what happened, because I saw a sale go through and I wanted to go ahead and actually check to see where it came from, to see if it came from the new campaign or if it came from the old campaign. It actually came from the campaign that we turned off. So what I want to let you guys know is this is the whole reason why I did not delete this campaign, and that's why I actually shut it off. So as I stated before, my usual numbers, right, is I like to get purchases for less than $60. I like to get purchases for less than $60, which is what this campaign is doing. But additionally, on average, the average earning per customer is usually about $120. Like, I know my numbers down to a T. So if you look here, but I've told you guys that multiple times, 773 divided by 6, $128 per purchase is how much I'm making with this campaign. So it's literally everything's right on metrics. It's under $60 and my earnings per customer is about $120. Now, let's go and actually look at this. The reason why I'd be willing to cut this campaign back on is for two reasons. Number one, it is below the $128, which will basically give us a break-even campaign. Now, the reason why I'm willing to do a break-even campaign is because there's 259 leads. So a portion of those leads will convert into customers in the future. Additionally, we can still have a shot of actually getting this cost per purchase lower. For example, let's just say we get a quick purchase. 3 divided by $240 will bring us down to about $80 per purchase. So it'll actually bring us below KPI. Additionally, both of the two sales were a $440 sell. Now, that means they both took the upsell. So if I go to the actual ad set level, this ad set right here is crushing it. Gary V is crushing it. $27 cost per purchase and 2 different purchases, right? So that one's crushing it. So if you look here, we made $888 off of a $54 ad spend. So additionally, if I go to the 3 days, as stated before, 28th to the 30th, and I go to update, it'll show that with this ad set, our cost per purchase now for the last 3 days is now down to $76.83 cost per purchase. And as I stated before, we make data-driven decisions based off of the last 3 days. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and actually turn this back on. And by the way, guys, it is the next day. It is July 1st, but this is the 30th. So this is yesterday's data. So literally it has just turned July 1st where we don't even have enough data on that day. So I would usually have been recording this the next day, but I caught this pretty early. And what are we gonna do on this specific campaign that we set up? It spent $7.89. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to look at the ad set KPIs. So the ad set KPIs has a pretty good click-through rate. The leads are not doing pretty well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and give it 24 hours. And within that 24 hours, we're gonna go ahead and actually see if it can fall within the line of the KPIs for the lead conversions. If it doesn't, we're simply gonna go ahead and clip the campaign. Because we already have this lead conversion campaign that's already running, if it is running profitable and it's below KPIs, then yeah, sure, I'll go ahead and let it continue to run. But if it's not, if you notice here, the click-through rate is a lot shorter. Cost per click isn't that bad, but the cost per lead is terrible. But it is only $7 spent. So we're gonna go ahead and give it till tomorrow before I make a data-driven decision with this one. but why not let it run? So with that being said, see, you never know. That's why you don't want to go ahead and cut off your campaigns. If you guys notice here, I'm filtering selection, and if I look at all my campaigns, I have plenty of campaigns, right? So that's why I don't delete campaigns, just in case I need to go ahead and turn the back on. So if we look at the all in all here, and I go ahead and actually filter by selection, we have spent so far, let's look at the overview of this campaign, the 24th to the 1st. I think we started this campaign on the 25th actually. Let me actually see, just so we have realistic data. So we didn't spend any money on the 24th. Did we spend any money on the 25th? We didn't even spend any money on the 25th. The 26th. All right, so we started spending money on the 26th. So from the 26th, we haven't even spent enough money on the 1st. Let's look at the 1st. The 1st has been, so far we spent $9. So I'm just gonna go ahead and look at the data from the last, let's go back here, from the 26th to the 30th, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. From the last 5 days, we've spent $576.64. We've made $1,661, and our current campaign return on investment, if we go to default tracking, right, our ROI, or return on ad spend, is 2.88. So we're almost getting a 3x return on ad spend, so which is pretty good, right? I'm fine with 2, but the more the merrier. Cherry on top, right? So with that being said, I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys that update. And what are we going to continue to do? We're going to continue to look at the data and make data-driven decisions. All right, so we're looking here. Today's current time and date is 1:23 a.m. July 3rd. So basically Friday. So I don't know if you guys remember here, we actually started our campaign on June 26th. And it's been 7 days, so we actually skipped a day of kind of looking at the data, and the reason why is because it was getting pretty redundant. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and actually show you the results for the week, and instead of updating you guys every single day on this campaign, I'm either going to go ahead and finish this campaign or this case study right here, or I might go ahead and periodically, if I kind of like scale my ad budget up to $500 per day or $1,000 per day, or even just get my revenue up to $1,000 per day on average. And at that point, I have more of a reason to kind of show you guys me continuing to scale, but I'm not gonna go ahead and actually update you guys day by day anymore on this case study. But let's go and actually look at the week, right? So if I go ahead and actually go to my filtered campaigns, we're gonna go ahead and do all 3 different campaigns. Now, one where I kind of wasted $50 was when I added that when I added that 3rd campaign. But you guys remember, if you guys remember during the training, the reason why I added it is because the lead conversions campaign actually wasn't working. Now guys, I'm so happy that I did not kill that lead conversions campaign, because if you guys look here, right, we're gonna look at the overview from the last week. So if I literally just look from the ads manager that I just started right here, we have $1,039 spent. And if we look from the campaign overview, right, we have literally on average about $8 initiate checkouts, $1 per lead, and then we were getting $1.26 per lead on this other campaign. I should have left it going. I actually might turn it back on, but no sense when I could just continue to scale this one. And if we look here, I did get 6 purchases on each, right? So my cost per purchase is $97 for the checkout conversions, and then it is $66 for the lead conversions over the course of the last 7 days. So my goal is to get cost per purchases at about 60. So the lead conversions is right about where I'm trying to be. And revenue wise, it's also, if we do divide it by 6, that's about $200 per purchase. So my earnings per purchase is roughly around KPIs on the checkout conversions. My cost, or my earnings per purchase, or average order value for my lead conversions, is actually over KPIs. My cost per purchase for lead conversions is around KPIs, and my cost per purchase on my checkout conversions is actually a little bit higher than I'd like, but it is still profitable. And if you guys notice here, right, because, and I want to show you guys why those are my KPIs, and now you guys might understand why they are. Because this is 773, let's backtrack. Because my cost per purchase is not around 60, right? And my average order value is about 6 divided by 773. That's around 120. Because I'm not within KPIs on my cost per purchase, my return on ad spend is only 1.33. However, if my cost per purchase was about 60, which is within KPIs, right? If I'm within KPIs on both, I'd be at about 2x return on ad spend, which is my goal KPI. So that's why I'm actually below, because I am on course with my earnings per purchase or average order value, but my cost per unique purchase is above KPIs, so I'm not getting the return on ad spend that I'd like. Now, if we look at the cost per unique purchase is actually around KPIs, so they're on KPIs, and I'm actually generating on average more than $120 per purchase. That's why I'm above my 2x return on ad spend KPI. So that's why I showed you, I was telling you guys from way in the beginning what my KPIs were. My desired KPIs is about $60 per purchase and about $120 average order value, which will give me about a 2x return on ad spend. So I can look at my KPIs and make data-driven decisions. For example, this one is still in profit, but if, let's just say this goes up to 120, right? 120, I'm gonna be about break even. So I don't wanna break even, right? Literally the cost per purchase, if you guys do the math, literally just do the math, right? The average order value is at $120. And if my cost per purchase is at $60, that's a 2x return on ad spend. That's why those are my KPIs, because I want a 2x return on ad spend. If I spend $1, I want $2 back. You ask any marketer, that's what they're trying to do. So because I know what my funnel usually converts at, my funnel usually converts at $120 average order value. So because I know that number, then my goal cost per purchase is $60 because I want a 2x return on ad spend. So now you guys are kind of knowing where my KPIs are coming from. Now, with that being said, because this is on course with my KPIs for a 2x return on ad spend, it's just a bonus that I'm getting a higher average order value. That's why it's at a 3x. And if you guys look here, because of this, right, overall campaign, my overall campaign is within my targeted KPIs. So the balance between the lead conversions and the checkout conversions is about almost 2x return on ad spend. So that's literally what I'm looking for. Now, if I didn't waste this $50 here, and if I was to go ahead and just filter by selection here, if I filter by these two and I didn't burn that $50, I'd have literally my desired KPI, which is 2x return on ad spend. So this is probably going to continue to go ahead and kind of stay within my metrics. And again, guys, as stated before, how do I even get these metrics? The way I get these metrics is looking at my cost per clicks, by looking at my cost per leads, looking at my initiate checkouts, and literally just making data-driven decisions. So guys, if you notice, there's a numbers game. I know all my numbers, right? I know what cost per clicks I need. I know what my cost per initiate checkouts. I know what my cost per purchases I need. I know how much I need to earn per purchase. And all of these, once you know all these numbers, now I can go ahead and start generating 2x return on ad spend. And if it so happens to be a little bit higher and my cost per purchase gets a little bit lower, right? The way that I can do that is by improving my advertising, and the way that I can go ahead and also improve the earnings per purchase as well as get my cost per leads a little bit lower is by actually optimizing the back end stuff, which is my sales funnel. So as stated before, I'm gonna go ahead and end this training for 7 days, right? In 7 days, we spent $983 and made $1,990 in revenue. So that's literally a 2x return on ad spend over the course of the 7 days. But what's even cooler about that is we generated probably over 500 leads, And not only did we generate over 500 leads, we also have a lot of these purchases who did not purchase the upsell are now reoccurring revenue for our business. So if we do the math there, maybe like 3 people bought the upsell. So that's like 9 times 47. Let's just round and say an extra $500 per month in reoccurring revenue for my business. So that's all this is about, guys. This is literally how this works. Literally just scale the wolves, slaughter the sheep, and continue to make data-driven decisions. All right, guys, so one thing that I will add that I thought would be very beneficial for you guys is that if you guys look at the checkout conversions campaign, I actually turned it off and I duplicated it. And the reason why I did that, because if you guys look here, in the 7 days of this campaign, we spent, let's go to the actual default tracking. We spent $583 in ads, and we made $773. So not only is it 1.33 return on ad spend, which is above 1, so we're not going to go ahead and turn it off. But if we look at the last 3 days, which is when we make data-driven decisions, 30th to the 2nd, it is way below KPIs. So this is a dying campaign, and we will continue to bleed out losing money. Now, I don't know why I didn't even catch that yesterday. Let me go ahead and actually do the 29th to the 1st. So if you do the 29th to the 1st, this campaign was at, okay, so if you look at the checkout conversions, the last 3 days, right? Yesterday, when I looked at my metrics and my conversions, it was actually at $2.13 return on ad spend, right? So it looked pretty profitable. But if we look at the next day, which is when I literally just looked at data after I shut off the recording for the last training, because I was making data-driven decisions, it went from 2x return on ad spend to 0.4. So this one's about to just start bleeding, right? So instead of just waiting for it and hoping for it to work out, we completely killed the campaign and literally just duplicated it. And instead of starting it at $150 or starting it at $50, we just started the budget back at $100. We're gonna look at the data, and then we're gonna go ahead and actually scale back up from there. So with that being said, that campaign died. If we look at it from afar, we did make $200 in profit, but it did not really continue to stand the time. Now, if I go to the 30th to the 2nd and we look at the lead conversions campaign, this one's actually doing 3.73x return on ad spend and $41 per purchase, right? So this one is way above KPIs. It's below the $60 that we want, and it has 5 purchases at $773. So this is way above KPIs. So we're gonna go ahead and actually keep this one running, and that's why we increased it from 100 to 130. So what we did is we increased to 130 for the winning campaign. For the losing campaign, that went from 2x return on ad spend to 0.4, which is losing us freaking money over the last 3 days. We lost money on this campaign over the last 3 days. Over the lifetime of this campaign, we made money. Over the last 3 days, we lost money. Over the last 3 days prior, we were actually up on money, but we lost money yesterday. So, or we ended up getting 0.4 return on ad spend within the last 3 days. So with that being said, if we go back to our data, what did we do? We cut this losing campaign off, meaning slaughter the sheep, scale the wolves. So we slaughtered the sheep, we scaled the wolves, and then we duplicated the checkout conversions campaign, and then we're starting it back at ground zero at $100. So we went from $250 in ad spend yesterday to $230 in ad spend, and we're just gonna go ahead and continue to look at our data and make data-driven decisions. All right, guys, so this is a campaign update. If you guys look here, remember we started June 26th. It's currently July 7th, so this is yesterday. So June 26th to July 6th is currently 11 days into this campaign. And if you guys look here, let's go ahead and actually take a look at the overall campaign. Now, we had the checkout conversions, and eventually it actually started going outside of KPIs. So it was 1.32. So we didn't lose money on that campaign, but we did end up shutting it off. So that way we didn't lose money over time. And then what we did is, I stated before, we duplicated it. And you look here, since we've actually duplicated, our cost per purchase on the new campaign is $37.98, which is below our $60 cost per purchase KPI. Additionally, the purchase conversion value is $752 with $417 spent. So we've made a 1.8 return on our investment. Now, one thing that is important to mention in this is that I want to go ahead and actually show you guys over coming into July. We actually lost money for 4 days straight. So the profit was $202.69 was on the first, negative $80.96 was on the second, negative $163.17 was on the third, and negative $55.90 was on the fourth. So the reason why I want to show you guys this is because you're not going to make money every single day, and the goal is not to look at by the day, but look at the overall campaign. So if I look at the overall campaign, we spent $1,972.09 and we've made $3,797. Now, the cool thing is that for the month of July, I spent $1,404, and in revenue, I made $1,431. So we literally have $26.96 in profit. So this is called a break-even campaign. Now, the reason why I'm okay with the break-even campaign, because if you look at the amount of sales we've had here, is 22 different sales and only one upsell. So that's literally 21 new members that are going to pay me passive income because it's a monthly membership. So that's the one benefit. Now, why? The question is, why did I lose money? The reason why I lost money is not because of my average cost per purchase. That's actually my KPI. My desired KPI is $60 cost per purchase. And the way that I do that is I go ahead and remain below $1.50 per lead. But additionally, the reason why is because if you guys notice here, the average sell cost was $47 for 4 days straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 5 days straight. And we finally got an upsell 5 days later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It took us 6 days to get an upsell, which is uncommon. And the reason why that happened is because it's beyond my control. Facebook and who they display my ads in front of is beyond my control. Obviously, I can go ahead and switch up the ads and so on and so forth. And I'm going to go ahead and actually show you guys some changes that we made. But basically, I wasn't getting any upsells because of the people they were displaying me. So my cost per purchase was on point. My average sell cost was good, $60. But my usual 120 average order value is $65.05 right now because I only have one upsell out of 22 different sales. So this is the whole point of looking at data. Additionally, if you guys look at conversion value, and I track all my conversions, but my conversion value was 28%, and then it went down to 19%, 25, 26, 25. Yesterday it was 29%, so almost a 30% conversion rate. Now, we're not going to go into serious data here, but basically going back to the actual campaign, what changes did I make to actually go into profit? So I'm going to go ahead and actually show you guys the last couple of days. So Friday was an unprofitable day. And if you guys look here, our cost per purchase, we only got one purchase and it was $127. So for that day we spent $210 and only got $147 purchase. So we lost a lot of money that day. Now, what changes did I make to the two active campaigns that are up right now? If we look here, these two buy 1%, I cut them off. These weren't performing. This audience wasn't performing. So after I cut off the buy 1%, and I'm only doing 3 out of the 4 audiences that I started with, the Gary V, the Initiate Checkouts, and the Grant Cardones, those ones are still actually performing. So literally by me optimizing the audience over the last 2 days, if I look at the last 2 days, I'm finally in profit. So if we look at how much I spent $425.83 and I made $1,149. So I recouped my investment to where this month, for this specific campaign, I was actually at a loss going 4 days in, but I actually recouped it and got into a break-even campaign. So I preferably want a 2x return on my investment, but even if I broke even at the end of the month, I'm really not going to go ahead and stress it, because remember, these are recurring revenue. And let's just look at the benefits, right? I have 21 different people who are on recurring revenue. Additionally, on top of that, I have 966 leads. Now, this isn't the whole campaign. This is literally just from the last 6 days. But if you guys notice here, even if you break even, you have leads and you have recurring revenue, right? With this specific offer that I'm promoting. So I just wanted to show you guys that you're not going to make money every single day, but what are we looking at? We're not looking by the day. We're looking at the campaign by the whole. And if you ever got to cut off audiences, cut off ad sets, cut off campaigns, doesn't matter. Just look at the data and make data-driven decisions. So thank you so much for watching that. Hopefully you guys gained value from that. If you want to go ahead and actually work with me and learn how to actually apply these Facebook advertisement campaigns to a product that has proven to convert, go ahead and click the first link in the description. You guys can actually get access to my affiliate program, the same product that I'm actually promoting in this case study, to generate $300 paydays with less than an hour's worth of work. Click the first link in the description. Aside from that, if you guys want to go and actually join the family and get access to videos like this in the future, hit the subscribers button and hit the notifications bell to get notified every time I drop some new heat. Last but not least, go ahead and smash that like button to show some love. And until next time, Eric LSD Wolf of Marketing checking out.